Have you ever pulled a carrot out of the ground and thought, what in the world happened here? You planted good seeds, you watered, you waited, and instead of a long, straight, beautiful carrot, you got something with 3 legs, a hairy beard, cracks down the side, and a shape that looks more like a creature from a science fiction movie than something you want to slice into a salad. If that sounds familiar, you are not alone. A lot of gardeners blame the seed packet, they blame the variety, some blame the weather, the moon, or just bad luck. But after years of growing carrots in real garden soil, I can tell you this. Most crooked carrots are not caused by bad seeds. They are caused by 2 things: the condition of your soil and the timing of your planting. Once you understand those 2 things, growing straight carrots becomes much less mysterious. Carrots are simple plants, but they are also very honest plants. They show you exactly what happened underground. If the soil was hard, the carrot shows it. If there was a rock in the way, the carrot shows it. If the bed was too crowded, too wet, too dry, or full of fresh manure, the carrot shows it. So today, let's talk about how to grow carrots that are long, smooth, sweet, and actually look like the picture on the seed packet. When I first started gardening, I made the same mistake a lot of people make. I thought bigger carrots needed more food. So I added manure, extra fertilizer, and anything else I thought would make the bed rich. Then harvest time came, and what I pulled out of the ground did not look like food. It looked like a tangled knot of orange roots. Some carrots had 2 or 3 tips, some were twisted, some were covered in little feeder roots. They were hard to peel, hard to clean, and honestly, a little embarrassing. That was when I learned the first big lesson. Carrots are not mainly about food. Carrots are about freedom. Freedom to grow straight down. At the beginning of its life, a carrot root is tiny and delicate. It is like a thin little thread, and that thread wants to grow downward in search of moisture. But if it hits something hard, it does not push through like a tree root. It does not have that kind of power. If the tip of the carrot root runs into a pebble, a lump of clay, a chunk of undecomposed compost, or a hard layer of compacted soil, the root has to change direction. Sometimes it splits. Sometimes it forks. Sometimes it grows around the obstacle. That is how you end up with carrots that look like they have legs. This is why loose soil matters more than expensive fertilizer. A carrot bed should be deep, soft, and free of hard chunks. If you want long carrots, you need to prepare the soil deeper than you think. For short, round, or stubby carrot varieties, you can get away with less depth. But if you want those long, classic orange carrots, aim for at least 10 to 12 inches of loose soil. If you can loosen the bed closer to 14 inches, even better. The goal is not just to scratch the surface with a rake. The goal is to create a deep, soft path for the root. If you garden in heavy clay, and many American gardeners do, especially in parts of the Midwest, the South, and the East Coast, you need to help that soil open up. Carrots hate soil that turns into brick after a rain. Do not try to fix clay by adding fresh manure. That usually makes things worse for carrots. Instead, use finished compost, leaf mold, peat moss if that is what you use in your area, or coconut coir. In some soils, coarse sand can help, but only if you add enough organic matter with it. A little bit of sand mixed into heavy clay can sometimes make the soil even more concrete-like, so be careful. What you really want is a bed that holds moisture but still has air in it. Pick up a handful of soil. If it crumbles easily, you are on the right track. If it forms a sticky ball that you could almost make pottery from, carrots are going to struggle. One of the best solutions in many American gardens is a raised bed. Raised beds warm up faster in spring, drain better after heavy rain, and are easier to fill with a loose soil mix. If your native soil is rocky, compacted, or full of tree roots, a raised bed can make a huge difference. For carrots, I like a deep raised bed, not a shallow one. 8 inches is better than nothing, but 10 to 12 inches gives you much more room to work with. Now let's talk about the mistake that ruins more carrots than almost anything else. Fresh manure. Fresh manure and carrots do not belong together. I know it feels natural to think that rich manure equals a better harvest, and for some crops, manure can be useful if handled correctly. But carrots are not the crop for fresh manure. Fresh manure can cause roots to fork, branch, and grow too many little side roots. It can also create uneven pockets of nutrients and texture in the soil. The young carrot root hits those areas and reacts badly. If you want to feed the soil, do it the season before. Add manure to a bed where you will grow corn, squash, tomatoes, or another heavy feeder. Then plant carrots there the next year. For carrots themselves, use only fully finished compost. It should be dark, crumbly, and smell like good forest soil. If you can still recognize straw, bedding, or fresh material in it, it is not ready for a carrot bed. Now, once the soil is loose and clean, there is another small detail that makes a big difference. The seed row needs to be even. Carrot seeds are tiny. If you just drag a rough trench through the soil and toss the seeds in, some seeds may sit near the surface, while others fall too deep. Then they germinate at different times. Some seedlings get strong, others lag behind, and soon the row becomes crowded and uneven. Here's what I like to do. After making a shallow furrow, I gently firm the bottom of the row with a small board, the handle of a tool, or even the edge of my hand. I do not pack the whole bed down. I only make the seed line level. That gives every seed the same start. In most American gardens, carrot seeds should be planted shallow. Usually about 1/4 inch deep is enough. In very sandy soil, or in hot, dry weather, you can cover them a little more, but do not bury them deep. Carrot seeds are slow to germinate. They need steady moisture near the surface. If they dry out before they sprout, you will get patchy rows. But if you bury them too deep, they may not have enough energy to push through. A simple trick is to cover the seeded row with a light layer of fine soil, compost, or vermiculite, then water gently. Some gardeners place a board over the row for a few days to hold in moisture, but you have to check under it every day. The moment you see sprouts, remove the board, or the seedlings will suffer. Now let's move to timing, because this is where American gardeners really need to adapt to their own climate. In a country as big as the United States, there is no single perfect carrot planting date. A gardener in Minnesota, a gardener in Georgia, a gardener in Arizona, and a gardener in coastal Oregon are not planting in the same conditions. So instead of thinking only by calendar date, think by soil temperature, frost dates, and summer heat. Carrots can germinate in cool soil, but they do not love cold, wet, compacted mud. If you sow too early in spring, especially in heavy soil, the seeds may sit there for a long time. The seedlings can come up weak and uneven. The roots may struggle from the very beginning. Early spring carrots are great for baby carrots and fresh eating. If you want a small summer harvest, sowing a few weeks before your last spring frost can work well. But if your goal is the best-looking, best-storing carrots, timing matters more. In many northern states, like Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Maine, Vermont, or upstate New York, a late spring or early summer sowing can be excellent. Planting in late May or June often gives carrots warm enough soil to germinate quickly, and then they mature as the weather cools down in late summer and fall. That is a perfect pattern for sweet storage carrots. In the Pacific Northwest, fall carrots can be amazing because the climate stays mild and moist. Many gardeners there can sow in mid to late summer and let carrots size up during cooler weather. In the Mountain West, where summers can be dry and temperature swings are big, you need to watch moisture closely. Carrots can grow beautifully there, but the seedbed cannot dry out during germination. In the South, the timing is completely different. If you garden in places like Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, Florida, or the Carolinas, June is often too hot for carrots. In many southern gardens, carrots are better as a fall, winter, or early spring crop. You may sow in late summer or early fall for a fall and winter harvest, depending on your local frost pattern. In the desert Southwest, like parts of Arizona, Nevada, and Southern California, carrots often do best during the cooler season, not in the peak summer heat. This is why your local extension office, seed packet, or USDA zone can help. But your actual garden conditions matter most. The ideal carrot season is not freezing cold, and it is not blazing hot. Carrots grow best when the soil is loose, evenly moist, and the weather is mild. As a general rule, carrots like cool to moderate temperatures. They become sweeter when they mature in cooler weather. That is why fall carrots often taste better than spring carrots. There is also one more reason late planting can help: pests. In some parts of the United States, carrot rust fly can damage carrots. The larvae tunnel into the roots and leave ugly marks. In other areas, nematodes or other soil pests can be more of a problem. Timing your planting so the most vulnerable stage of growth avoids peak pest pressure can help. Crop rotation also matters. Do not plant carrots in the exact same spot year after year. You can also use row cover right after sowing if carrot fly or similar pests are common where you live. Just make sure the edges are sealed because tiny pests do not need much of an opening. Now, let's talk about watering. This is another place where gardeners accidentally train carrots to grow badly. A lot of people sprinkle the bed every evening just enough to wet the top of the soil. That keeps the surface damp, but it does not encourage deep root growth. A carrot is built to search downward for moisture. If water is always only at the surface, the root has less reason to grow deep. You can end up with shorter, fatter, less impressive carrots. But there is a balance. During germination, the top layer must stay moist. Carrot seeds are slow, and they cannot dry out while they are trying to sprout. So, in the beginning, light, frequent watering may be needed. Once the seedlings are established, change your strategy. Water less often, but more deeply. You want moisture to reach down into the root zone. A deep watering encourages the carrot to follow the moisture downward. In most garden soils, that means soaking the bed so water reaches at least 6 to 8 inches deep and deeper as the plants mature. Do not let the soil turn bone dry and then flood it all at once. That is how carrots crack. When a carrot goes through drought stress and then suddenly gets a lot of water, the inside can swell faster than the skin can handle. The result is splitting. Those big cracks are not usually a disease. They are often a watering problem. The best carrots come from steady conditions. Not swampy, not dry as dust, just consistently moist. Mulch can help, especially in hot or windy areas. A light mulch between rows can keep the soil cooler and reduce moisture swings. Just do not bury tiny seedlings under heavy mulch too early. Now let's talk about spacing. Crowding is one of the biggest enemies of straight carrots. Carrot seeds are tiny, so it is very easy to sow too many. At first, a thick row feels like success. You see all those little green tops and think, "Great, I have a full stand." But underground, the roots are fighting. When carrots grow too close together, they push against each other, twist around each other, and compete for water and nutrients. The result is smaller, crooked, uneven roots. For most standard carrots, You want about 2 to 3 inches between plants by the time they are sizing up. For large storage varieties, 3 inches is better. For baby carrots, they can be closer. Thinning is not optional if the row is crowded. I like to thin in stages. The first thinning happens when the seedlings are still small, once they have their first true leaves. At that point, I create a little breathing room. The second thinning happens later, when the young carrots are big enough to use as baby carrots. Then, I leave the strongest plants spaced properly for full growth. Be gentle when thinning. Pulling one seedling can disturb the root beside it. If the soil is dry or tight, water first. Some gardeners prefer to snip extra seedlings at soil level with scissors to avoid disturbing the neighbors. And here is a useful tip if you hate thinning. Use pelleted seed or seed tape. Seed tape is very popular for carrots because it spaces the seeds for you. You can buy it, or you can make your own with thin paper and a simple flour paste. It takes a little time up front, but it saves a lot of frustration later. Pelleted seed is also easier to handle because each tiny carrot seed is coated, making it bigger and more visible. Now, there is another old garden trick that actually works. Plant carrots near onions. This does not magically make carrots straight, but it can help reduce pest pressure. The strong smell of onions can confuse some pests that search by scent. Carrots and onions are often good neighbors in the garden. You can also plant carrots near leeks, chives, or scallions. Just remember that companion planting is not a replacement for good soil, proper spacing, and smart watering. It is one more layer of protection. There are also plenty of myths around carrots, and some of them are worth sorting out. One common belief is that carrots planted by the moon grow straighter. I will say this respectfully. The moon is not going to remove rocks from your soil. It is not going to loosen clay. It is not going to thin your seedlings for you. But there is one reason people who follow a planting calendar sometimes get good results. They are paying attention. They are organized. They prepare the bed, plant on schedule, water consistently, and keep up with the garden. That discipline matters. So, if a calendar helps you stay organized, use it. Just do not skip the real work underground. Another old saying is that if you sift the soil, carrots will grow like show carrots. That one is true. If you remove rocks, hard clods, sticks, and debris from the bed, the carrot has a much better chance of growing straight. Sifting soil is not fun. It is slow work. But if you want perfect carrots for a fair, a photo, or just personal pride, it works. You do not have to sift your whole garden. Even preparing one special carrot bed carefully can give you a beautiful harvest. Another belief is that early carrots are always crooked and later carrots are always perfect. That is too simple, but there is some truth behind it. Early carrots can struggle if they are planted into cold, wet, compacted soil. Later carrots often germinate faster and grow more evenly because the soil is warmer. But in hot climates, late spring or summer planting can be the wrong move. So the real rule is this: plant when your soil is workable, loose, moist, and in the right temperature range for carrots. For northern gardeners, that may mean spring and early summer. For southern gardeners, that may mean fall and winter. For mild coastal climates, you may have several windows. Now let's put everything together into a simple carrot checklist. First, prepare the bed deeply. Do not just rake the top inch. Loosen the soil 10 to 12 inches deep if you want long carrots. Remove rocks, sticks, and hard clods. Second, improve the structure. Carrots want soil that is loose, crumbly, and well-drained, but not dry. Use finished compost. Avoid fresh manure. If your soil is heavy clay, consider a raised bed. Third, plant at the right depth. Carrot seeds are small. Cover them lightly, usually about 1/4 inch deep. Keep the seed bed moist until they sprout. Fourth, get the timing right for your region. In the north, try a late spring or early summer sowing for fall storage carrots. In the south, think fall, winter, or early spring. In hot, dry climates, avoid the hottest part of the year. Your first and last frost dates matter more than a random date on the calendar. Fifth, water correctly. Keep the surface moist during germination. After that, water deeply and consistently. Do not let the bed dry out completely and then flood it. Sixth, thin the row. Crowded carrots will not grow straight. Give them space. 2 to 3 inches between plants is a good target for most full-size carrots. Seventh, protect the crop. Rotate your planting area. Use row cover if carrot pests are common in your region. Try planting onions nearby as a helpful companion. And finally, choose the right variety for your soil. This is important. If you have deep, loose, sandy loam, you can grow long varieties like Imperator types. If your soil is heavier or shallow, choose Nantes, Chantenay, Danvers, or shorter varieties. A shorter carrot grown well is much better than a long carrot forced to fight bad soil. A straight carrot is not an accident. It is the result of giving that root a clear path, steady moisture, enough space, and the right season. The carrot is going to tell the truth about your garden. If the soil was hard, you will see it. If the watering was uneven, you will see it. If the bed was too crowded, you will see it. But when you get it right, harvest day feels amazing. You grab the green tops, loosen the soil, pull gently, and out comes a smooth, bright orange carrot. Long, clean, straight, and beautiful. That is one of the best feelings in the garden. So this season, do not just plant carrots and hope for the best. Prepare the bed. Watch your timing. Water with purpose. Give each plant room to grow. Do that, and your carrots will not just taste better. They will look like they came from a professional market garden. And when your neighbors ask why your carrots are so straight, you will know exactly what to tell them.